Labor Senator Deb O'Neill now, who joins us from the Central Coast. Good to talk to you, Deb. You've had Albo in your neck of the woods today. You've been showing him the sights. What has he been talking about in your electorate today, your neighbourhood today?
Well, we did have Albo come to visit today. I had to get a special leave pass to come up from Sydney to launch the bid for the seat of Robertson by our wonderful local candidate. And I do mean deeply local. Dr. Gordon Reid went to Umina Public School, which is just across the road from where we launched him today at Umina Surf Lifesaving Club. And he went to Central Coast Grammar School to finish off his coastal discussions and his coastal education. But then he went on to study at the University of Newcastle, and for the last 5 years, Dr. Gordon Reid has been an emergency physician at Wyong, predominantly Wyong Hospital, but also some shifts at Woy Woy and at Gosford. So this guy is number one, fantastic candidate who really understands the coast, comes from a small business family background, and knows that the jobs on the coast that have promised by the Liberal governments have just not been delivered. We've got massive insecure employment, and we've got a huge pressure on our local health system, including 100 people, he said, came through the emergency centre, the emergency department when he was there just the other night on a shift. 100 people, he said, who should have been able to go to a GP, but either couldn't get in because the books are all closed off and we haven't got enough GPs, or they simply couldn't afford to get the health care that they need. This guy knows. He knows what's going on. He's going to be a fantastic candidate for Labor, and I encourage all the people in Robertson, give Gordon Reid your vote to get on and do something for the coast instead of all the promises we've had that haven't been delivered. Well,
you're close to Newcastle and the Hunter there. A lot of people in Robertson would be working in industries associated with coal and energy around Newcastle. How are you going to shut all those industries down, yet keep all those people in work?
Look, there's so much innovation that we're capable of actually achieving as a country. If only we had somebody who believed in it and was able to lead us. I've just listened to your conversation with Tim Wilson from Victoria. And, the gobbledygook we heard there, you're supposed to have a target and it's not good enough if you haven't got a target. All of the magic words that they trot out. The reality is we have lost thousands of jobs already while this government's been sitting there twiddling its thumbs on whether they'd make a commitment to the reality of energy changing. You're
talking about the Central Coast and Newcastle area. There are tens of thousands of people there working in coal mining, in transport, in aluminium smelting, in all the industries that hang off that. How on earth are you going to find replacement jobs for them? Making solar panels?
All of those jobs are vital. And as a Labor senator, I support those jobs. And we could have had a plan in place for the entire 8 years of this government to make sure that those jobs were secure.
But most of your party wants to shut down the coal industry.
That is absolutely not the case. And if you have a look through the history of Australia, it's the unions, it's the AWU and the CFMEU who have been standing up and establishing things like the long service leave program that we have for our coal miners. We've been standing alongside the energy industry and coal miners for decades, long before it became fashionable to do so as a National Party member. The reality is we will stand with those workers, but at the same time, we know that the people of the Central Coast, the Hunter and Sydney, know that it's completely inappropriate for the proposed PEP 11 oil and gas drilling rigs to be going off the coast of the Central Coast here. So I know that Dr. Gordon Reid understands what this community wants. We want to make sure that the government is held to account, that it makes sure that they actually get rid of the PEP 11, and that's an opportunity that they have right now with Minister Pitt. All he has to do is sign off and say PEP 11's over, and then the people of the Central Coast can be quite happy. But they're not going to do that. They'll promise it. They've promised so much to the coast, but they fail to deliver. And that's the concern that I have. This government that simply talks, but when it's really called to deliver, it just doesn't show up and do the day job that it's supposed to be elected to do.
I want to talk about the next election and the candidates that Labor is putting forward. Here's something that Anthony Albanese has had to say about that.
We have a range of other outstanding candidates that I'll be announcing in coming days and weeks. And I'm very confident that not only will we have a Labor government with a vision for the future, we'll have a team coming through making us a long-term Labor government is what I want to do.
There you are, wisely nodding in the background, Deb. We've lost pictures with you, but I'm interested in your thoughts on Christina Keneally being confirmed today. I think she's to be confirmed today or tonight as the endorsed candidate for the seat of Fowler. That's not really going to win over the locals, is it? And there's been a bit of publicity out there trying to diss the other candidates there as not being local because they come from Blacktown.
Look, there's going to be plenty of discussion about who ends up being standing in all the seats across the country for both the Liberal and the Labor Party. But what I do know is that my colleague from the Senate, Senator Keneally, will be a really powerful champion for the community out there in the seat of Fowler. And I'm delighted that I will be able to continue my work for the people of New South Wales in the Senate. This is such an important election for this country. 8 years of a very tired government that has failed to deliver for so many Australians, failed to deliver job security. Businesses are still screaming for resources to manage their way through this terrible attack that we've had on business across the country under this extended period of lockdown that's been forced by the government not doing its job. Candidates everywhere will stand up.
You obviously had the key factional backing to keep the Senate spot. Do you feel guilty inflicting Christina Keneally on the people of Fowler?
Absolutely not. I feel very pleased to be able to stay in the Senate and continue to do the work that I do. I'm not sure if you know, Chris, but there was a massive attack going on this country by big overseas companies that provide our cars, like Holden, for example. I was able to work in the Senate to get the crossbench support to make sure that we delivered a Labor private senator's bill that showed the government the way forward to protect that industry. Now, I'm very proud of being able to do that, getting the government to change its mind, save 60,000 jobs across the country and 5,000 apprenticeships and traineeships. That's the kind of work you get to do in the Senate, and I've been very glad to go back and do it.
Thanks very much for joining us, Deb. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Chris. Thanks.
Senator Deb O'Neill, who gets to stay in the Senate post the election, thanks to her spot on the Labor ticket, but she's forced Christina Keneally out there to Fowler, where she'll have to try and win that safe Labor seat. Now,